All radio listeners, just to provide a backdrop before I bring back in Mr. Percival. We are talking about social and economic impact of crime and the wider society. How does crime really impact our communities and our society as a whole? It's important to for us to really understand and come to the terms of that crime is crime is present, sorry, and the police continue to be proactive and to employ whatever strategy and methodology to ensure that it is kept at a manageable rate, if possible, to be eradicated, but we know that is a tall order. And so one of proaction, one of full participation, shared responsibility, these can be the ingredients as to how we can bring crime to where we can feel safer in our community. Now, crime can cause significant social and economic problems, not only to our communities, but to individuals, to businesses. And even when one deal with crime as a social issue, it can be quite expensive. And so, as we zero in on the impact of crime, we want to really talk about more or less the support system in relation to the victims, children from who might be crime has been affected them having had experience in relation to that. And so, Mr. Percival, in giving a background, how do you think that your department plays an integral part in this addressing this issue?
Well, good morning again, and again I say thank you very much for having me, and I've been greetings from the Department of Child Probation and Protection Services. The department is a department that is very, very important, not only in when it comes to addressing the young persons who had parents who have fell to crime and violence, but in the prevention of crime and violence, because we deal with the youth of the Federation, and I always believe that the department should take a proactive stance and play a proactive role in doing such. We try our best to be out there as much as possible. But of course, the cases, they keep coming in, and I think sometimes some of the cases that comes to the department need not come to the department. But again, some parents, they tend to throw their hands in the air and give up easily on the children.
Right.
And once you give up on the children, you leave room for the children to come more deep down and start doing things, because crime is something that it graduates, it gets to a point, from a point of small, and it continues on that track. Those same children who were doing little things, petty things, they graduate into the more serious crime. So the department is playing, and I know definitely we can do more. One of the things I speak about in the department is collaboration.
Right.
Because just like the police cannot...
Yes, and that is one of the pillars of the police.
Yes.
To collaborate with other agencies. That's one of the commissioner's 7-point plan, collaboration. And so it's interesting that you would have absorbed the need for that. And the probation, and that includes child and welfare, right?
Yes.
Right. And so that is a very integral government agency that can play a very pivotal role in the police effort of crime prevention, as they provide a support role, and at the same time can assist in the prevention as well.
Yes, each government agency should collaborate with each other, especially when it comes to crime, because crime is something, it affects every agency straight across the board, every community, every organization. It affects everybody. So when it comes to crime, everybody needs to be singing from the same hymn sheet and walking the same path, right? Because crime, when you look at it, agriculture, crime affects that, right? Entertainment, crime affects that,
right?
The economy, crime affects that in so many different ways, and we have to now start to look for solutions to combat this, because when something happens, you realize what society does, finger,
right,
and do the blaming,
right. And the important thing, I think that we tend to be more reactive, and I think the a reversal of that is to be proactive. In terms of, you would have mentioned that some of the traits and some of the indicators, they don't happen overnight. It happens over a period of time. And so it is important when, from a society as a whole, can identify these indicators and more or less take a stance as to what is acceptable norms and what is unacceptable norms. And that can filter through to the behavior and the conduct of children, because children live what they learn. You will agree with that?
Yes, of course.
And so the society, the community at large, if there is a collaborative effort and that sync in terms of how do we view crime and what is our stance on crime in relation to prevention, that to my mind will be a very good help. You would have talked about your department also play a role in the prevention. Maybe you might want to hint on any intervention in terms of from a prevention standpoint.
Well, one of the things that we spoke about and we speak about a lot, but we have not been able to do as much of it as possible, is our presence in the schools. Because the Ministry of Education, that should be one of our greatest, because we can look at the schools and we could pinpoint, okay, this person, they have abnormal behaviors, or we will get feedback from the teacher. They will call us in and say, okay, I have XYZ child, and we are seeing this, we are hearing this, we are seeing them do things that we know definitely that young people should not do. So when we get that information from them, now it is just our turn to step in and do some work, find out the community they come from, do some home visit, find out exactly what's going on in the house, why the child is displaying this kind of behavior. And then now comes the police, because we have to now start to get the police involved because of what we might have found out.
Right.
So there you have those three entities: education, child welfare, and law enforcement. To me, those three agencies should be working hand in hand when it comes to preventing. Because once we see in the schools, we now should start addressing those issues, whether it be petty theft, whether it be acts of indecency, because we have young people in the schools doing things that they see at home, right? Whether it is touching, just simple touching, inappropriate, that is an alarm bell going off.
Yeah.
Right? We have children in the schools who just go off and show tantrums, swearing a lot and fighting and those kind of things. And so you said that will do what they see and children will say what they hear. So we now have to get the parents involved with that, because we cannot fix a problem in the house by fixing the child.
Right.
We have to do a holistic approach, deal with the parents and the child together.
Right. And so in all of this effort, because as you highlighted, the education department, the police, and your department, the child welfare, how do you think and how important that the community at large, in terms of this whole effort of really in the prevention aspect of crime?
Well, the community is like a second home to a child, to anybody, because we always hear the saying, it takes to raise a child. And
Right.
that happened back then. I don't think it's happening that much now, because people tend to turn a blind eye to what they are seeing. They see it, but they don't say anything about it because of one fear. People that say, "Oh, the parents might come and cuss me out," and that kind of thing, and they fear the father, because the father might be one of those guys who have the reputation, criminal reputation, and people will see things and don't address them. But I always say, if you see somebody doing something, especially a young person, and you do not say anything about it, you're condoning it, and it will affect you, because if I see a young person doing something in my community, I'm going to be concerned. I am going to be concerned. So we as individuals have a responsibility. Whether you know the child, yes or no, that doesn't matter. You are supposed to try your best and correct the child. Because sometimes just a word of encouragement
Right.
will stop the child. Because children, once you don't correct them, they feel like what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to do, because they realize nobody telling me nothing, so they'll continue to do it. So the community plays a very, very important role. And that is why we feel like the police, my department, probation, we're supposed to be out there in the communities. We're supposed to be out there, we meet people, we build that relationship. So in times of trouble, people know
Right.
who I can go to.
Right.
There are persons who they could trust to go to and say, look, I saw this, or I want somebody to intervene with this. I think so. Community is very, very important.
Right. We are going to take a break at this point, and when we come back, because we talk about the impact, so we want to look at some of the different ways. Some of them are known in how the community is impacted. But after the break, we will really look at that while we take the calls from our listeners who might want to share thought.
Sure.
Tell me what you think about Marcus.
Join us on ZIZ TV for Youth Lounge with Sniper, a talk show on vital topics such as tourism, entrepreneurship, education, religion, sex education, and mental health, featuring experts from St. Kitts and Nevis and the Caribbean region. Tune in live on the first and third Wednesday of every month at 8:30 p.m. ZIZ TV.
Who am I, your castle, and you have to defend that?
Get serious, use Bob.
Mosquito, fly, and roach. To stop.
Get serious, use Bob.
No, me get cross. Hit take a pass, but spray me pop up. Could that do my
Watch the trailer, the insects stop. Make you spread them with pop. Flying, crawling, insects are falling when you spread them with pop. Nothing comes close to pop. Pop, the number one brand, serious, get pop.
Okay, welcome back, and we give an opportunity to our radio listeners If you want to participate in the discussion this morning, you can feel free to call. And so we are discussing the social and economic impact of crime on the wider society. We have a caller. Good morning.
Good morning, officer.
Morning.
Last one, good morning too.
Good morning, sir.
You know who I am, right?
Of course.
Okay, good program. And I glad that they have you on it. Because from the moment you joined the police force, I saw your interest in the youth. I remember one day you had two little youth, you bring them from down the short pier. Because what they were doing down there, it was wrong, it illegal, and you took them up to the police station and you schooled them. Now, with these lot of crime that is going on, we all know what the good book says, which is the Bible. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. But sometimes we stray away. And when the teaching that we get as a youth come back in our memory, we tighten up and we straighten up. But problems start in the home where the child is born. And when parents allow children or child, from the moment they start to creep and go up in the kitchen and touch this, and they leave them and touch the TV, they grow with that, and when they leave the home and they come out in the public cannot train them to come better, because that is what is planted in their root. If you plant a rose slip in fresh water to get a root, when you get a root, you can't expect to go put it in a salt pan. You're gonna kill it. So it has to be planted in the earth where you get fresh water. So come back to that. The problem needs to straighten up in the home first before they expect the village to train a child. I listen off the ear. Thank you for listening to me.
Right, thank you, Thank you, caller, and I agree that the home is the center, the epicenter, if you should say that, because that's where everything is focused. But because massive of that is the community, and so we see where we have really transitioned from where a community take on that responsibility to be a support network into the home, to where that it is like turning a blind eye, turning away, and that in itself affect the issue we are discussing. We have another call on the line. Okay, we would have lost that call. Is important while we're discussing it. Okay, they're back.
Hello, I'm going to say good morning, good program, but some of the mother have to blame, because when we children do wrong, we don't give no satisfaction, but you know, you should balance them. And congratulations to the woman police who report this station down all road, my district. You have a good day, and Victor, thank you for the program.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And it's always good when police officers serve the public and they are satisfied, that they come back and they express their satisfaction and commendation. So congratulations to Sergeant Marisho, who is now the sergeant at Old Road. And so you have where someone is saying that they are satisfied with your service that you have been delivering, and so congratulations to you. I was saying that while we are discussing crime, it is important to keep it in its perspective, because from a statistical standpoint, there is significant reduction in certain crime, robberies, house malicious damages. We would have see a slight increase in relation to offenses against persons like woundings and those kind of areas. But nonetheless, the importance to always keep it at the forefront, and so that we can always garner and engender that civic responsibility to ensure that we all have a part to play in that. So we were talking about how crime affect the community, and so as I said earlier, that it does not only affect the community, it affects the individual. For example, people may become frightened or inside or outside of their home. You have your home insurance. That if you are in an area where crime is being perpetrated, that it can have an impact on that. So your premium can rise. Your property prices are affected where you have a depreciation, because no one will want to take up residence or purchase a property in an area that seemingly to be unsafe. Homeowners can find it more difficult to sell their property. New businesses may avoid being in that area. You might have new businesses closing, existing businesses closing, while there will not be any new businesses. Fortunately for us, we don't have a particular area per se where it is more prevalent. It's somewhat spread out. And so it's for us to continue to be proactive, unify in our efforts to ensure that it is kept at a manageable way, that persons can feel safe to live and feel safe to do business. Because while we want to be in a safe environment, we have to be able that we have a business environment that can thrive. And so we see where the effects of that, you have thefts, as a result, loss of income, you have costs for repairing damages and vandalism, and loss of customers. And these are the impact that we can find. And it has a cost. You have a cost on the business. Even though we don't have the statistics, because I find that sometimes we don't do a very good job with data collation, because sometimes these kind of things is always good when there are available data to say, well, this is the impact and the cost. We may know the impact, but in terms of the cost of it, that is one area. You want to shine?
Surprisingly, I was having a conversation with a class. I think it was 2 weeks back. I was having a conversation with a class at one of the high schools, and we were speaking about crime and the effects, the economic effects on it. And I told them, look, when things were really, really hot in St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of the murders, there are business places that used to open till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Now closing at 6, 7 and 8 o'clock. And that had a real, real serious impact. People didn't go out at night time to lime and those kind of things. And if they do, by 8 o'clock, we had areas where people just used to avoid.
Yeah.
They don't want to drive through there, they don't want to walk through there, they don't want to live there.
And it put a strain on the resources, the government resources, particularly the police force, because you now have to focus your attention to create that reassurance and things like that. And so I have always believed that crime prevention is a shared responsibility.
Of course it is.
Crime fighting is a shared responsibility.
It is. And as I said, crime affects every aspect of life, because there is no village, and I stand by that, there is no village in St. Kitts that had not had the share of homicide.
Right.
When you look at the stats back then, when things were really, really heated, village in St. Kitts would have been touched by that.
Yeah.
And when you see these things happen, you have two families grieving. It's not just about the person who would have lost their life.
Right.
You
because the perpetrator.
Of course.
Yes. There is
and then the state now has to step in, because each person who goes to the hospital, they have to be treated.
Right.
And they don't just put toilet paper on your cut and wipe off the blood and that's it. You hear people going into surgery hear people staying in the hospital for lengthy time. They have to be looked after, and these things cost and put a strain on the government. Crime in itself, it's a disease. It is a disease that it can be cured, but it's going to take a lot of doctoring. And who are the doctors? Everybody in society is doctors, because we cannot leave it up to one particular agency. Right. We cannot say, oh, the church ain't doing nothing, the school ain't doing nothing, the police ain't doing nothing, the parents ain't doing nothing. Everybody needs to be on board and do whatever little. Even if sometimes people see things, they don't report them. But you are condoning these things. If you do that, the police ask for your assistance, and you don't give the assistance. Right. But when it hits home, you want somebody to do the same thing in reporting. Right? It is everybody's responsibility to do these things.
Right. Perhaps we need to emphasize the need for civic responsibility, because even before we the renowned police philosopher Sir Robert Peel, there were principles that he would have developed as to around how one can police himself, and that brings with it that civil responsibility. Even before you have police officers as department will have that specific responsibility, where everybody in society is responsible to the thing. Even today in the civil law, there is something called the neighborly principle, where you have a duty to you have a duty of care to your neighbor, in that you must always have that thought of what your can have an effect on your neighbor. And sometimes we tend to think, even in the Bible, we think, well, our neighbor is who we are close to, but our neighbor is everybody that is around. And so I think that these are the precepts that we have to return to, and we have to continue to enforce. From a police perspective, we will continue to engage the community, because we recently had a town hall at Keon. It was fairly attended. It was being broadcast live, and the feedback from it was very positive in relation to that. So that is something that we intend to have ongoing periodically. So as we are talking about collaboration, maybe your department, some of these town halls, we can extend an invitation to your, and so that you have that united front in relation to bringing back society and help to curb the effects and impact of these ill that is perpetrated against society, as a way to reduce the impact of it.
Yeah, I think those things need to be done. Even different agencies and different workplaces, when they have the professional development day or whatever sessions they have for the staff, I think they should invite, like our department, invite the police, because majority of these workplaces are run by females, and the females are the mothers of the homes. And I honestly believe that if you want to change a society, you start with, because they are the ones who run in the homes, and running a lot of these agencies are run. Look at the PS system straight across the country. They are fairly run by females. So we have to now start to spread our wings out there and do some serious networking. One of the things I would love to see in all the communities is spaces where children can go at afternoons and weekends to have some sort of recreation. We have, think it's so blessed with a lot of things, but they're not being utilized properly.
Right. The facilities
we have facilities there, but they are closed. They need to be outfitted with, whether it is computers, they need to be outfitted with sporting activities for the children to come. Have people there, so you throw back the doors. Let's say children come home, you help them with the homework and those things. We need to have these things. We need to shower the children with positive things, so they won't have any time for any negative.
Right.
We need to replace the positive things so that they won't have any time for the negative. Give them a safe space. If it is there, they will come.
Right.
If it is not there, they will find places to go, or they will find things to do. And it's more than likely that it is something that they're not supposed to be doing. So what I would like to see, the year is young. We just in February the 1st.
Yes.
So we have enough time now to correct things that need correcting. It's time now for us to start taking back and start with our young people, giving them safe spaces to be at. Right. On the weekends, you find children up and down the place,
and that is very significant, Percival, because the reason why I say that sometimes, you'll take the call. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Kashrai Tweed.
Yes.
I'm having a very serious problem, right? And it's like, I tried to get a meeting with the chief of police or the commissioner with the matter, and he's telling me it's not a police matter. I must go to see a lawyer. Here it is. I brought in a bulldozer, not a bulldozer, a backhoe to bury my pipes. This man now, I buried my pipe back in the 90s. This is 2024. This man went, take a hoe, dig out the trench where I bury my pipe in, and put his pipe on top of my pipe. While he was doing that, he break my pipe. It so happened that now I cannot get it buried because when the pipe got broken, he washed out the areas where the pipe is. But how could I go and get me pipe properly buried when his pipe is on mine? If I now do go and try to bury my pipe properly, his pipe will get wet. I went to his family into. I went and I report the matter. Certain things that we went and I report. And it's like I can't get no solution. None absolutely at all. Just recently, did Wayne Nando open my hole in his fence for his dogs to come attack me.
But
I don't walk there where the road now, you know. I walk in a different area now, you know.
Caller, may I ask, have you even attempted to see a lawyer?
But for this matter to me, it's a police matter, because it's like, and then the man come meet me and want to keep up verbal confrontation with me. But I don't tell.
Yeah, no, caller. It's really not a police matter, because listening to your explanation, it seems to me that it's a matter for the magistrate to adjudicate, and for the magistrate to make a determination, and having made a determination, put certain order in place, and so to ensure that, and then the police now can probably supervise or enforce the order of the court. So I think that you will have to consider seeing a lawyer.
But then I said something now to it.
What you can do.
No, listen to me. Because since this incident here, right, a machine was going down the same range and it break my pipe. So then to take this matter to the lawyer, then to a magistrate, what length of time they're going to take? If you understand what I'm speaking of. I can't continue being repairing my pipe. You know, police can let him know. This is totally wrong. And what I had to actually do, put some boulders on the pipe to keep it from projecting up in the ear. I'm going to a lot of stupidness with this man. A lot of stupidness.
Okay, caller. Thank you very much. I think I understand your situation, your circumstance, but if you should give some thought to it in relation to have it resolved speedily. There are ways how you can do that. If you go to a lawyer, if you feel that you have been infringed and you go to a lawyer, the lawyer can go to the court and appeal to the court and can put in place or make an application for what we call an estoppel, meaning to stop whatever was happening until the matter is resolved. So you might be thinking it will be delayed, but if you have been so aggrieved, your lawyer can now move the court to have whatever the person is doing to stop by way of a court order until the matter is resolved. So you have not really exhausted your options, and that is what probably, from what listening to you, you need to do that. All right, thank you very much for calling. Yeah, we have another call on the line. Hello? We lost the call?
No, I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah, Howard just said something earlier, and I can attest to that. It's like you said, certain properties, the owner would not want to design or build a property in certain areas where a lot of negative activity is going on. And I have seen that in town Miami. A school was built long before a lot of things happening around the school. And then the negative activities move in that area, and through that they had to, the authorities closed down the school and moved the school from there.
Yeah.
When they were supposed to move the people who creating these negative activities, and when I say negative, I mean selling drugs there.
Yes.
Closed them down. So in other words now, the tail started wagging the dog.
Right.
And that shouldn't be. The authorities of the land are supposed to have the power to move and remove and arrest.
Right.
So I hope that don't come here. Anyway, say something.
And so, Carla, sorry to interject while you think, but I don't want to lose the point, because I think that you have crystallized it, you have bring it home in terms of what we are discussing. And so, as you made the persons who come in and create the mayhem,
I'll hang up, let someone else come in. Yes.
Then it should be that those persons are being removed. But there is something to that, the proactiveness. So if the community as a whole, once they recognize those things and they have a united stance on it would not even get too faster to the point that it will be to a point where you have businesses leaving, the government have to remove the school because the children are not safe. Thankfully for us, we don't have that experience, we don't have to look very far, and so we can see the impact. And having learned from other countries' experiences, that is why we should really become proactive. We should engender civic responsibility, civic action in terms of see yourself as a member of the society, the community, as a stakeholder, and that you have a part to play. Right, we are going to wrap up now because we're really out of time, and so I'm going to give Mr. Percival the opportunity for his closing comments.
Okay, firstly, let me say thanks again for having me here. It's, as always, the topics are always hard hitting.
Yeah.
One of the things I would like to leave with our listeners is to the parents. You have an option as to what you want from your child or children when they get older. And I always say you have three options: graduation, burial, or incarceration.
Yeah.
Those three.
That's the actual reality. Yeah.
Graduation, which everybody loves. Incarceration, nobody wants. And burial, we don't need that at all. You're out there, you're listening. You decide what you want from your child or your children, and make the determination. Set your foundation now. Start to set your rules and regulations. If the child does something wrong, correct the child. Because if you don't correct the child, the state will correct the child in 1840 for you. That's my departing words.
Right, and I want to challenge us, and I say us meaning the community as at large, that for us to become again civic minded and develop that sense of responsibility in terms of your role as a citizen, and become patriotic to ensure that you always do what is necessary to see that your country thrive and your country go from strength to strength. We are a proud people. Let us continue to collaborate. Let us continue joining partnership. Even recently, Superintendent David and I, we met with during assembly at the Keon High School, and I addressed the students on teen violence and how it impacts, why it is important to them, why they should be concerned, and why they should not become a participator. And I think it was well received, and so it's effort and proactions like these we have to continue to bring to bear. Just listening in public, this is part one of our crime prevention. We focus on the impact of the society and the community and the individual. We hope that the next time we come again, we want to look at the role of the community, and in that we are going to extend it to organizations. We hope that because we had reached out to a representative of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, that they can bring their perspective to bear and how they intend in being a part of that. They are very enthused about doing that, but unfortunately the representative took ill. And so the next time around in our part two of we are going to examine further the role of the community in crime prevention. This has been another episode of Police. I am Sergeant Maguire. Have a blessed day.
What you know about love? Why all the segregation? All are but one nation. Whoa. Let us unite as one. Let us unite as one. Tell me.
All right, you're listening to ZIZ, Radio 96.1 FM dial, ZIZonline.com. And you were just listening to Policing with You, and that was part